Hello, everyone, and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. So, I'm back for a brand new series of Have Your Say videos.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
And this is for UK versus the World Season 3. I don't typically do videos about UK versus the World because sometimes they don't really get that many views. There's not as much interest as the American seasons, for example. So I'll see how this one does. And if it does well, I might do more. But if it doesn't, I might not be able to because I already have so much to do with the US, Roscoe's, Scorpios, etc.
Bus, club, another club, plane, next place, no sleep.
So today we're going to be recapping episodes 1 and 2, going through the results of the Have Your Say poll where you at home voted on whether you agreed with the outcome of the episodes. And I'll be talking about some drama related to the episodes involving Plain Jane and Kori King getting called out, Minty Fresh is criticised for using AI, and the Only Naomy exposes something that happened by production that may have set her up. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Okay, so we'll quickly go through the queens in order in which they entered, and I'll just say who they are and where they're from. So first up is Kate Butch. She is from Drag Race UK Season 5, where she placed 5th. Next up, we had Fontana, who is from Drag Race Sweden, although she's originally from Brazil and then moved to Sweden. And on the show, she placed runner-up. Next up was Godland from Drag Race Thailand, who placed 3rd/4th. After that is Zahira Zapanta, or Zahira, who is from Drag Race UK Season 6, where she originally placed 10th. After that, we have the Only Naomy from Drag Race Germany Season 1, and she also placed 10th. After that, it's Mariah Balenciaga, who is from the US version. She was on Season 3 and placed 9th, and All Stars 5, where she placed 8th. After that, we have Sminty Drop from UK Season 4, where she placed 9th. Next up is Minty Fresh, not to be confused with Sminty Drop. Sminty, Minty, similar names, different people. But Minty Fresh is from the Philippines, Season 1, where she originally placed 5th. Then penultimately, we have Serena Morena from Drag Race Mexico, Season 1, and she placed 8th. And finally, we have Melinda Vega from Canada's Drag Race Season 4, where she placed 5th. I actually really enjoyed the fact that this cast is very varied. Obviously, they have more UK queens because it's UK versus the world. But unlike some of the other UK versus the world where they had multiple US queens and multiple Canadian queens, in this season, they've got a mix of all different queens and none of them are from the same country apart from the UK queens. So I do appreciate that. I think they're trying to do a bit more diversity. Okay, so we're going to go into the main challenge for this week, which was the RuRuvision Song Contest, which is obviously a play on the Eurovision Song Contest. So basically each queen needs to perform an original song. Okay, so I'll go through them in order in which they appeared, and first up was Fontana. I loved Fontana's. I thought it was actually a really catchy song. I mean, she does live in Sweden, and Sweden are known for amazing songs. There's a lot of great songwriters in Sweden. Also, ABBA is famously famous from the Eurovision because they won it in the 70s. So, you know, she's in good company. Loved the song, thought she performed it really well. It was just really interesting performance. I loved the kind of the swooshy fan things that she did. It was great. Gets a yay from me. And in the Have Your Say poll, think you agreed. You voted 77.2% for yay, 20.7% for just okay, and then only 2% for nay. After that was Godland. I enjoyed the performance. I don't think the song was as good, but I really liked the way she sold it and the bit when she brought out the sparkler gun. Obviously, we all love a bit of theatre and drama, hence why we're on this channel. If you don't like drama, then what are you doing here?
Girl, bye, get out.
But yeah, anything like a sparkler gun, I am totally here for. I really enjoyed it, so I would give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, interestingly, you gave it 83.7% for yay, so that's even more than Fontana. I thought Fontana's song was actually better than Godland's, but I guess Godland's presentation was really good. 14.6 for just okay, and then 1.6 for nay. After that, we have Zahira Zapanta. I liked the concept of what she was doing, obviously having the Brit crew member and sort of, you know, the Brit crew trying to become made over, to become a sissy or whatever. I liked the idea of it. I just don't think the execution was great. So I think I probably would have to give it a just okay, because I don't think it was as good as a lot of the others. In the Have Your Say poll, you clearly did not like this very much. It was 48.4% for just okay, but then 45.9% for nay, so almost just as much, and then 5.7% for yay. Next up, we have Melinda Vega. I wanted to like this because I love Melinda, but she sang live, which is, I think, a challenge because most of the others obviously had a pre-recorded track that's auto-tuned and stuff. Singing live is difficult, and I don't think her voice sounded good at all. She did say that she was ill before, so maybe that's why it was affecting her throat. It just really didn't sound very good. So unfortunately, I would have to give this a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, looks like you agreed. 80.5% for nay, 17.5% for just okay, and then only 2% for yay. Next up is the Only Naomy. I liked the idea of what she was trying to do because it was quite funny in parts, and the bit where she obviously took the wig off and she was snatched bald because she's obviously this sort of glamazon normally, you know, she's basically just all legs, straight up and down, beautiful blonde hair, but then she also was being really funny and silly. I do think it lost a little bit of something. I don't think it was quite funny enough though. So I would give it a just okay, but it was a just okay, maybe pushing up towards a yay, but it still needed to be workshopped a bit. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you vaguely agreed because it was 49.6% for just okay, so almost half, 39.8% for yay, and then 10.6% for nay. After that was Mariah Balenciaga. Now, Mariah did a bit more of a cerebral, quite almost serious sort of performance. It wasn't just a straight song. Kind of reminded me a bit of the All Stars 5 talent show she did with sort of the blood on the walls. It was very moving, but I don't think it quite worked in this context, and I don't think the song was as strong as it could have been, so I would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you obviously did not like this. You said 54.1% for nay, so over half, then 37.4% for just okay, and then 8.5% for nay. Next up was Sminty Drop. I really enjoyed this because she's being very funny, because I think a lot of people know her as being this fashion queen, but actually she's very funny. I liked that she was sort of taking the bits of the clumps of hair out, as you will, as someone who is, you know, maybe approaching 40 in a few years. I know what it's like to have some hair loss, potentially.
You are old.
But I liked that. She also did her famous twerking thing, which was obviously from her original season exit, where she did the sad twerk. So I liked that. Ru obviously liked it. I would give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 72.8% for yay. So obviously you really liked it. 22% for just okay, and then 5.3% for nay. Next up, confusingly, was Minty Fresh, not to be confused with Sminty Drop. So Minty Fresh's song, I personally was not a huge fan of the song. It was fine. It was a little bit generic. I also thought the performance was slightly generic. Obviously, the big thing was at the end when she had the lasers and they put the lights down, there was the smoke and you could see the lasers. Other than that, I thought the song itself was not that interesting though. So I probably would give it a just okay, but it would have been towards the nay side. In the Have Your Say poll, 69.9% of you voted just okay, so quite a lot. 17.1% for yay, and then 13% for nay. Then penultimately, we have Kate Butch. I really liked Kate, very British. She was kind of doing talk singing, but a little bit of singing, but mainly talking. I also liked it because it was funny. She was doing it live and it was quite quick with a lot of lyrics. And I assume she wrote the lyrics and they were funny and very kind of, they worked really well. I think she should have got a lot more praise than she got, but the fact that she did it live, I think that's really impressive. I definitely would give it a yay. And in the Have Your Say poll, I think, any mathematicians in the comments let me know, I think the majority liked it. 92.3% for yay, 7.3% for just okay, and then an unknown quantity said nay, because I can't actually see it's that small. And then finally we had Serena Morena. I liked the concept of this. I think it's fun. She was obviously having something, a naughty adult toy, can we say that on the channel, under her pillow. And she was sort of saying it was malfunctioning, or I'm not quite sure. The storyline was a little bit crazy, but then she had the frazzled hair because I guess she was getting electrocuted by it. The actual song itself was a bit meh, but I think the concept, everything was fun, and she sold it well. So I would give it a yay, but maybe a yay slash just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you didn't like it, I guess, as much as I did. It was 50.8% for just okay. Then it was 26.8% for yay, but then not that different was 22.4% for nay. So then I asked you, which song gets the slay which is the best song, and you voted Kate Butch got 47.2%, which was by far the biggest. Then it was Godlin with 25.2%, and then Fontana was 15%. I would agree. I would give it to Kate Butch, I think, because she performed it live, which I think makes it a lot harder than doing a pre-recorded track. Okay, so let's move on to the runway for this week. And the category was for Queen and Country. So it's a look that represents your home nation. So first up, we had Fontana representing Sweden. I really liked this look. I loved the spinning crown. I always love a gimmick and something fun. The outfit itself I actually quite liked as well, so I would give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 75.2% for yay, so over 3/4, 21.5% for just okay, and then 3.3% for nay. Next up, we have Godland representing Thailand. I loved this look because obviously it's a lobster representing a dish from Thailand. I loved this so much. It's fun, it's whimsical, but it's also really tastefully done, so it definitely gets a yay from me. In the Have Your Say poll, again, I think you liked it. 84.6% voted yay, so by far the majority. 14.6% for just okay, and then again, a tiny amount, 0.8% voted for nay. I guess that must be people who have a shellfish allergy. Next up is Zahira Zapanta representing the UK. So I believe she said this was Big Ben representing obviously the clock, and she had the clocks here and stuff. I can see the inspiration. We have had clock themed runways before. I don't think this is the strongest one. It's fine, but I think I'd give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, 54.9% said just okay, so the majority. Then it was 26% for yay, and then pretty close was 19.1% for nay. Next up is Melinda Vega representing Canada. I like the look, cowboy, cowgirl, depending on which way you swing. I like it. I think it's fun. We have seen a lot of this sort of thing on Drag Race before, and it's kind of given me a bit Elvis as well. But I think I'd give it a just okay towards the A, because we've seen probably better versions of this before. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 44.3% for just okay, but then 38.6% for nay, so pretty decent proportion, and then 17.1% for yay. Next up, we had the Only Naomy representing Germany, and I'd like to bring on a special guest for this one. Hello everyone, it is I, the illustrious Dr. Claudia Pousset. I don't know why Matt asked me to come on specifically for Naomi. I can only assume because she is from Germany, although some of you in the comments seem to be confused whether I, Claudia, am from Germany, or maybe France, or maybe Russia, or maybe the Netherlands. Who knows? I am from everywhere and nowhere, so I cannot confirm. I will say, when I was a little kitten, I came to Cologne, or Köln as it is called in Germany, and I have seen the Cologne Cathedral, the Kölner Dom, and I remember I was there when it was first consecrated in 1880, so I very much enjoyed this look. I would give it a yay. And in the Have Your Say poll, you voted 78.9% for the yay, so you clearly liked this. Then it was 17.9% for the just okay, and then a measly 3.3% voted for the nay. Okay, I must now go because I'm on my way to the UN Climate Change Conference because it is a big deal for me, and my private jet is about to take me, so I must go. So I will hand you back over to the incapable hands of Matt. Next, we had Mariah Balenciaga. Again, this is another cowboy girl type look. I think it's fine. The mustache was fun, but I think the outfit itself is a little bit on the simple side, so I think I'd have to give this a just okay, maybe even towards an A. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 45.9% for just okay, then 37.4%, so pretty close for nay, so you obviously did not like this, and then 16.7% for yay. Okay, next up is Minty Drop representing the UK. So her outfit is inspired by swans because they're protected and they're owned by the royal family, which I believe is actually true. Can you imagine just owning a bunch of swans? Anyway, I loved this look so much. It's very clean, simple, it fit her body beautifully, it looked very editorial. This is definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 72.8% for yay, so the majority, 22.4% for just okay, and then 4.9% for nay. After that, we have Minty Fresh representing the Philippines. So she told a story about the markets they have where they sell the bits of fabric and stuff for cheap, and that's where the inspiration for this outfit comes from. I really like the story she's telling, and I think it is cool that she's got all these different fabrics. I think they are quite nicely put together. I don't think the outfit necessarily as a whole is that amazing though, so I probably would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 45.9% for just okay. I think I probably would agree. I'd give it around that. 41.1% for yay, which again feels right. It's sort of towards just okay, but towards the yay side. And then 13% for nay. Then penultimately, we have Serena Morena representing Mexico. I really enjoyed this look because it definitely was giving Mexico, and I loved that she was representing the, you know, the Mexican culture and things. I thought the outfit's actually really pretty, and that big sort of, it's not a headpiece, but like a back piece, whatever you want to call it, was also really big. I mean, I like anything big and flouncy. I personally quite enjoyed this. Maybe it is a tiny bit on the simple side with some of the details, but I would give this a yay. I think in the Have Your Say poll, you clearly did not like this as much as I did. You said 52% for just okay. Then it was 27.6% for yay. And then I was kind of surprised that 20.3% of you voted for nay. And finally, we had Kate Butch representing the UK. Now, obviously, the story behind this is it's sort of, she's trying to talk about the dark side of the UK and the history of colonialism and all of the things that we've done that's been awful, you know, like colonization and things like that. And that's why she had the blood on her hands. I think this was actually a really powerful message. The outfit itself is really nice as well. It fits her really well. I really like the message behind it and the way that she incorporates all the elements. I would give this a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 76.4% for yay, so over 3/4, 20.7% for just okay, and then 2.8% for nay. Okay, so I asked you whose runway walk gets the slay, and you voted 29.7% for Godland. Not that far behind was Kate Butch with 21.1, and then the Only Naomy was third with 19.9. I think I'd have to agree. I would give it to Godland. I really liked that it was kind of a bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, a little bit silly, but also really pretty and elevated at the same time. So I definitely would give it to Godland. And I don't even like seafood, but I would eat that lobster. So we find out because it's the first episode, there are no eliminations. So there's only tops, no bottoms. Sounds like a great Friday night.
Slut.
And we find out that the top two are Fontana and Godland. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the top two? And interestingly, 58.9% of you, which is over half, said no, with 41.1% saying yes. So of that over half of you that said no, I said, who do you think should have been the top two? And you overwhelmingly voted for Kate Butch and Godland. So you would have replaced Fontana with Kate Butch. So Fontana and Godland lip sync to the song Tattoo by Loreen, who was the guest judge. And we find out the winner is Fontana. I asked you, who do you think won the lip sync? You voted 78% for Fontana and 22% for Godland. Okay, so the final two questions. Question 7 was, based on what we've seen so far, who do you think will win the season? Now, I appreciate this is difficult because we haven't seen much so far, but you voted 41.9% for Kate Butch, so the biggest by far. Second was Fontana with 30.5%, and then 18.7% for Godland. And then maybe a bit more interestingly, question 8 was, based on what we've seen so far, who do you want to win? Interestingly, Kate Butch came out on top again with 27.2%, but this was much more split. Then it was Godland with 24%, and not that far behind was Fontana with 22.8%. Okay, so let's quickly move on to some of the comments for this episode. From my Patreon comments, my Patreon Riot said, Kate not being in the top two was a choice.
We all make choices, but that was a choice. Choices. Choices. Choices.
I agree. I definitely would have put Kate in the top two because I think her talent, because she did it live, I think that's very impressive. My Patreon Deb said, enjoyed that they have deprioritized US queens and instead given us more international queens. And I mentioned that earlier. I do appreciate they've got a lot more diversity this year. My Patreon Oxymoron said, it starts well, but I'm afraid they're choices. So I guess maybe because of the Kate Butch not being in the top two. After Marina, they have to be careful. Probably won't give the UK queens their flowers enough. So I think there's been quite a big discussion about, I think people think because the last two winners of UK versus the world have been UK queens, people think that maybe in this season they're going to not give the UK queen a win because they want to sort of show that other queens can win. So I do wonder if maybe that has something to do with why Kate was not in the top this week. And my Patreon Patty said, I really enjoyed the episode. I think the contestants are fantastic, a really great challenge with a good mix. I found the first episode more interesting than the last three of Drag Race the US version, season 18, and I'm looking forward to more great episodes. I agree. I actually think this was a great premiere episode. And then in the Have Your Say poll comments, a lot of people were talking talking about the fact that Kate was not in the top, saying, Kate had my favorite performance. I think they didn't put her in the top because production doesn't want a UK queen dominating the premiere episode. And then a lot of people said things like Rigor Morris. But then I think there was also some support on the other side for that, which said, shocked by the lack of UK bias so far. We're only one episode in, so that could be famous last words, but it was so nice to see Fontana and Godland in the top. Oh, and by the way, this comment said, Matt, you're an absolute darling, by the way. Well, thank you very much. Please stop. But don't stop. I want more of those comments. Please give them to me now. Please. Okay, so let's move on to episode 2. So we find out that the queens are going to be doing a design challenge. Woo! I'm not going to get into my thoughts on design challenges because it'll be just like repeating myself over and over and over again. But there is a bit of a twist to this one. So in this particular one, each queen has brought an outfit from their previous original seasons, but they have to use another queen's outfit. So they almost have to switch previous outfits and then make a new garment with it. And also the gag was that because Minty was the last person who got to pick, she then got the choice to have the remaining outfit, or she could steal from another queen, and she chose to steal. And I loved that, by the way, because it's always a bit of drama to, you know, set some feelings alight and to get a little bit of tension, shall we say. And we also found out it's not just the fact they're doing a design challenge, they also have to do a runway as well, and it's a RuDemption look. So they basically have to redo one of the previous runways they did on their original season, but like an elevated version of it. But these are looks that they brought from home. Okay, so we're going to start with the RuDemption runway. So the runways they brought from home that are a RuDemption from a previous look. Okay, so first up, we're going to start with Godland. And this is the look that she is redeeming. So, you know, this is an elevated version of that. I really enjoyed this runway. It was a little bit kind of, the walk was very slow and a tiny bit clunky, but I think it was worth it for the spectacle of it. This was an amazing look. I would give this a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 81.6% for yay. I would agree. Then it was quite split. Just Okay was 10.9 and nay got 7.5. Next up is Sminty Drop. And this is the look that she is redeeming herself from. I actually really liked the original look as well, but I do like this look. I love the green. I think the different textures are fun. It's very glamorous. I think I'd give it a yay, but it would be a yay, but on the slightly lower end of yay. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you maybe agreed because you said yay 48.9%, but then 43.1% for Just Okay. So almost kind of a 50-50 split, and then 8% for nay. Next up is Serena Morena. So this is the look that she is redeeming herself from her original season. I think this is a better version of the outfit. I don't think it's the best outfit though, as in the new version. I think it's definitely better, but it's still, there's still something that could be tweaked on it. I'm not sure. So I think I'd give it a Just Okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 52.3% for Just Okay, 32.8% for nay though. So that's quite a decent proportion, and then 14.9% for yay. After that, we have Melinda Vega, and this is the look that she is redeeming. This is from the design challenge. This is the infamous outfit where she had her freak out, you know, like, I did that with gratitude, which was iconic. The Vivienne Westwood look. I think the new look is nice. It's kind of Vivienne Westwood. I don't think it's the most amazing look. It's kind of a bit, we've seen it before, so I probably would give it a Just Okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 52.3% for Just Okay, 32.2% for yay, and then 15.5% for nay. The next queen is the Only Naomi. So this is the look that she is redeeming from her original season. I definitely think this is a step up. I really liked this new outfit. It was giving a little bit, you know, risque and everything with the latex, and it's kind of giving suffocation and all that kind of stuff. So I liked it. I would give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you agreed. It was 74.7%, so almost 3/4 for yay, 22.4% for Just Okay, and then 2.9% for nay. Next up, we have Kate Butch. I think this is better than the original look, but the original look was not that great, if we're being honest. I don't think this new look is that great either. It's kind of simple. It is better, but it's not my favorite, so I probably would give it a Just Okay, maybe even going down to a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 48.3% for Just Okay, then it was 27% for yay, but then it was 24.7% for nay, so it was almost kind of 50-50 between yay and nay. After that, we had Minty Fresh. This is definitely a step up from the original look. I also loved the bit when they dimmed the light and you could see the light up bits of her outfit. It looked so beautiful. This is definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 82.2% for yay, so definitely you liked it. 15.5% for just okay, and then 2.3% for nay. After that, we had Zahira Zapanta. What I enjoyed is that this is a RuDemption from a design challenge, and I like that she has taken literally the same outfit, the same fabric and idea, but just made a different version. And this does kind of look like a design challenge look, so I appreciate that it's not just a completely different look. It is a reimagining of the look. I don't think the look itself is the most amazing, but I can see, at least you can see, okay, that was the original, this is the new one. There's a through line in it, so I will give her credit for that. I think I'd give it a just okay, maybe a soft yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you're obviously less harsh than me, which I'm not sure how you could be because I'm a lovely person.
That's funny. Tell another one.
But you voted 59.8% for yay, 35.1% for just okay, and then 5.2% for nay. Then penultimately, we have Fontana. This is definitely a step up from the original look. I mean, she did say that she was broke on her original season, so she probably couldn't afford anything better. I really enjoyed this new look, though. I think it's giving very amoeba under the sea, but really glamorous, a very, a sexy amoeba, if you can say that. I loved this look. I'd give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 71.8% for yay. I personally thought it'd be higher than that. 25.3% for just okay, so over a quarter of you were not as in love with it as I was, and then 2.9% for nay. And finally, we have Mariah Balenciaga. Again, I liked the fact that there is a definite through line if you compare the original look and the new one. I think that color is beautiful on her. I liked the fact that it was kind of a bit shapeless, but in a fun way. I do think maybe that we have seen better outfits done like this before, but I did really enjoy it, so I'd give it a yay towards a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 56.3% for yay, so over half, but then 35.1% for just okay, so still pretty decent, over a third, and then 8.6% for nay. So then I asked you, whose RuDemption runway gets a slay? And you voted Godland with 29.9%, then Minty Fresh with 20.1%, and then just behind was the Only Naomy with 19%. Okay, so now let's move on to the RuMix, which are the self-made outfits using another queen's outfit. So first up, we had Godland, who was using Fontana's original outfit. I loved this. I thought this was such an amazing, upcycle, recycle of the look. It's totally different, really punk rock. The colors work. Everything looked amazing. Definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, 89.1% of you voted for yay, so I think that means you like it. 9.1% for just okay, and then a measly 1.7% of you voted nay. Next up is Sminty Drop, who had Godland's old look. I really liked it. I think it's definitely a step up from the original. I think the way she redid it was really creative. It showed off her body. I do think she deserved more credit than she got for this. I don't know if maybe it's just because the middle is so empty. Maybe that's why they didn't like it as much, because it just makes it look a bit more simple. I really enjoyed it though, so I would give it a yay. Interestingly, in the Have Your Say poll, it was 56.9% for yay, so that is the majority, but still 34.5% voted just okay, which is still quite a lot, and then 8.6% for nay. After that is Serena Morena, who had Mariah's old look. To be honest, I personally think I preferred Mariah's original look to this one. I can see the concept behind it, and I think it was an innovative way of changing a gown into a skirt with a sort of a shawl over the top. I just don't think it was that successful, though. The colors are nice, but other than that, this isn't my favorite, so I probably would give it a nay, maybe a just okay if I was feeling generous. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 49.4% for nay, so almost half. 42.5% for just okay, so clearly you also did not like this particularly, and then 8% for yay. Next up is Melinda Vega using the Only Naomi's old look. I personally did not like this very much. I think the construction, as they said, is decent because she said she went to school for fashion. I just think Naomi's look originally was probably better. I didn't like the way this sort of draping in the middle bit just looked a bit odd. There was just something about it just didn't look that flattering to me, so I probably would give it a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 56.9% for nay, so I think you agreed, 37.9% for just okay, and then 5.2% for yay. After that, we had the Only Naomy using Minty Fresh's old look. I did not like this particularly. I think Minty's original outfit was better. I just think the catsuit underneath just looks really plain, and then she's got these sort of droopy bits of the pink fabric. I think those colors work nicely, but just not the way she did it. I just think that the pink bits across just looked a little bit sloppy. Normally, I don't mind certain things being sloppy.
That's what she said.
But I don't like sloppy looks, so I'd have to give this a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 62.1% for nay, so over half. Then it was 33.9% for just okay, and then only 4% for yay. After that is Kate Butch using Zahira Serpanta's old look. I think this is okay. It's not the best. She did say that a lot of the other queens used additional fabric that was provided for them, whereas Kate didn't. This is 100% the original look. Maybe that's why it's so short. I think it could have done with being a little bit longer, though. It just looked a little bit too small and so it didn't quite proportionize her body properly. So I probably would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 46% for just okay, 36.2% for nay, though, so it was more you didn't like it, and then 17.8% for yay. After that is Minty Fresh, confusingly using Sminty Drop's old outfit, so Sminty and Minty together. I wasn't a huge fan of this look. I think Sminty's original version was better. I just think there's something a little bit unflattering about it, and the white bit over the black just doesn't, it looks too bulky. I don't know, it loses her shape a little bit, so I think for me, this would be a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, you were slightly less harsh than me. Go figure. It was 43.7% for just okay, but then 43.1% for nay, so almost the exact same, and then 13.2% for yay. After that, we had Zahira Serpanta, and she was doing Serena Morena's look. I think this is a better version of the original look. It's a little bit simple. We've seen this a lot of times on Drag Race, but I really like this sort of drapey veil, whatever you want to call it. I think it looks very regal. I liked that part of it, and the colors. I think everything works nicely, but it is a little bit kind of, we've seen it before, so I'd give it a just okay towards a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 53.4% for just okay, 27% for yay, and then 19.5% for nay. Then, penultimately, we had Fontana with Kate Butch's old look. I liked the way that she redid this. I think it was a different silhouette than a lot of other people did with the hood and the cape and everything. I guess it was giving a little bit what the original look was. I do think this is a better version of the look, though. It's not the best, but it's not the worst.
I ain't saying I'm the best, but I ain't the worst.
So I think I'd give it a just okay, maybe scraping a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 49.4% for just okay, but then 40.8% for yay, so it's actually not that far off between the two, and then 9.8% for nay. And finally, we had Mariah Balenciaga doing Melinda Vega's look. I definitely think this is an improvement on the original look, and it is definitely something a bit different. I'm not sure I was quite as crazy for it as the judges were. It is a beautiful color, I will give you that, but that's obviously not her choice. That was the original color, I guess. But I liked what she did with it, but it is effectively a bodysuit underneath with then some stuff over it, so I probably would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, interestingly, 42.5% voted yay, so you obviously liked it more than I did, but then 36.2% for just okay, which is still a decent proportion, and then 21.3% for nay, which is still quite high. So then I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, whose self-made outfit gets a slay? And that is me stitching because it's self-made. And you voted 59.8% for Godland, 19% for Sminty Drop, and then the rest of them were pretty similar, but Mariah Balenciaga was third with 9.2%. I agree. To me, Godland was by far the best. I think the original outfit was the least amount of fabric, so the fact that she made this outfit and it looked so good, definitely she deserves the slay. Okay, so we find out that there is a twist. We all love a twist. And what it is that they're introducing something called the Chippy Tea. So what's going to happen is the queen who wins gets the power of the Chippy Tea. And of the bottom three, so not a bottom two, bottom three, they get to use the Chippy Tea to save one of the bottom three from lip syncing. So if you've ever watched Canada's Drag Race, this is basically the Golden Beaver 2.0. So we find out that the winner for this week is Godland. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the winner? You said 75.9% for yes and 24.1% for no. So of that around quarter of you who said no, I said, who do you think should have won instead? You voted Mariah Balenciaga with 42.9%, and then Sminty Drop came in second with 35.7%. Okay, and moving on to the bottom three, we find out that it is Melinda Vega, Minty Fresh, and the Only Naomy. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the bottom three? 71.3% of you voted for no, so the vast majority, and then 28.7% said yes. So of that almost 3/4 of you who said no, I said, who do you think should have been the bottom three? And you voted Serena Morena, Melinda Vega, and the Only Naomi. So it sounds like you would have switched out Minty Fresh for Serena Morena. And we find out that Godland uses the Chippy Tea to save Minty Fresh. Okay, so I then said, of the bottom three, who would you save using the Chippy Tea? And you voted 44.8% for Minty Fresh, 28.7% for Melinda Vega, and 26.4% for the Only Naomi. Okay, so the bottom two, Melinda and the Only Naomi, then lip sync to the song I Begin to Wonder by Danny Minogue. And we find out the Only Naomi is announced as the winner, so unfortunately, Melinda Vega becomes the first queen to get eliminated. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, who do you think won the lip sync in your opinion? And you voted the Only Naomi 69% and Melinda Vega got 31%. I definitely agree. I don't think this was a very good lip sync. We'll get onto that in a minute, but I do think that Naomi was less bad in it than Melinda was. Okay, so finally, the last two questions. Question 9 was, based on what we've seen so far, who do you think will win the season? You voted Godland 41.4%, Kate Butch with 27%, and then Fontana was third with 26.4%. But then slightly more interestingly, it was based on what we've seen so far, who do you want to win the season? Again, Godland came out on top with 37.4%. Then it was Fontana with 20.7%, and then Kate Butch was 19.5%. And it's interesting that Godland, Fontana, and Kate Butch seem to be coming out on top in pretty much every poll, regardless of which way around the question is asked. Okay, so moving on to the comments for this week, we'll start with my Patreon comments. My Patreon Oxymoron left a long comment, but basically the first part of it was saying the lip sync was interesting. I was curious who will stay because I had no idea because they basically both did bad. And we'll get onto that in a second because this was quite a big topic. My Patreon Max said, I really loved the runway themes and I would like to see the RuDemption theme across other All-Stars series and the remix could work on a regular season. My Patreon Deb said, gutted we lost Melinda. Me too. I loved Melinda. I thought she was going to bring the drama, which we all love. She's a compelling character, but I agree that she didn't have the best showing, and I think I agree with that. And my Patreon Patty was also sad that Melinda was out, but has to agree that she was the weakest. And then also said, Kristen McMemony, which is difficult to say, McMemony, is back as a judge. I love her so much. She's so kind of wacky and crazy. I do really like that she's a consistent judge. I feel like she should be a recurring judge. And moving on to the comments in the Have Your Say poll, so many of the comments were talking about the lip sync and how bad it was, saying the lip sync had no winners. There should have been an option that no one won the lip sync in the Have Your Say poll because Jesus, that was horrible. I didn't want Melinda to go home, but that could have easily been a double sachet. I agree, this lip sync was messy and not very good. I did also see that Naomi tweeted apologizing about the lip sync, so I think they are aware. And then someone else said, I honestly thought the lip sync could have been a double elimination. It was messy. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think it would have been fair to have a double elimination on the first episode? Would that have been a gag, or do you think that would have been unfair? Also, let me know what you think of UK versus the World Season 3 so far, and is it living up to what you hoped? Okay, finally, we're going to move on to a little bit of light drama on the back of this week's episode to do with Plain Jane and Kori King being called out by Godland and other queens. So, as some of you may know, World of Wonder has a series called Binge Queens, where Drag Race queens watch and give commentary on the episodes of Drag Race. For UK versus the World Season 3, Plain Jane and Kori King are two of the queens reviewing the season. Both Plain and Kori are known for being quite outspoken and often making jokey but shady comments about other queens. To give some background context, when the first episode aired, on Binge Queens, Plain and Kori had criticised Kate Butch's original song, saying that they think Kate should go home first, and that Kate's performance was, quote, not now, and is not what drag is about now. Kate must have then seen Binge Queens, and she tweeted saying, so Binge Queens is interesting. Fellow Drag Race UK queen Tia Coffey then commented on Kate's post saying, No, you don't understand. That's not what drag is anymore, Kate. Imagine writing intelligent lyrics, singing live with great vocals, and injecting humor into your performance. Completely unenjoyable. You should lip sync about your, quote, burger finger. Now that's fierce. To which Kate replied saying, it's famously condiment bottles that get you places, not belting a high C. Plain Jane then retweeted Tia's comment and said Marina should have won, which was clearly some light shade because Marina Summers was the runner-up on last season's UK vs. the World, but Tia Coffee was the winner of that season. So clearly there was already some criticism of what Plain and Kori were saying about the queens. Well, when episode 2 of UK vs. the World 3 came out, even more backlash happened. Godlin posted a clip from Binge Queens where Plain and Kori gave Godlin's look a boot. And Godlin posted about this saying, this is actually heartbreaking. In the comments on Godlin's post, people were supporting Godland and they started dragging Plain and Kori, saying that they have no right to judge how other queens look, and there started to be some backlash against Plain and Kori. However, Kori then addressed the situation by retweeting Godlin's post, and she included a photo of one of her looks, which was highly criticized, and Kori said, this is the girl that said it. Please don't take it seriously, sister, LMFAO. Plain also commented on Godlin's post by saying, you're better than me. I stand 8 chicken toes behind my opinion. Kate Butch also got involved by reposting Godlin's post, and Kate included a photo from the episode holding up scissors, and Kate said, Godland, get behind me. So although Plain and Kori seem to be getting some backlash about what they said, they seem to be addressing it in a jokey way, so I assume this was not meant seriously. But it'll be interesting to see if this keeps happening for the rest of the season or not, and if Plain and Kori will address it any further. Okay, and moving on to another bit of light drama to do with this season, which involves Minty Fresh being criticised for using AI. So in episode 1, the queens had to perform original songs. After the episode aired, Minty Fresh posted on social media about her song, which is what many of the queens do. And in the post, she listed all of the people who worked on her song, including the lyricist and the composer, etc. However, I saw in a Reddit post on the RPDR subreddit that someone looked up the studio producer listed in Minty's post, who's named Dali Tolosa, and according to their Instagram, they are a songwriter / AI music producer. Someone then posted this on Twitter, calling out Minty Fresh by posting screenshots of the producer, and the tweet said, Drag Race girls, do better when it comes to AI, lol. Minty, you're weird, sis. There was then a lot of backlash in the comments against Minty, with people criticizing her for using AI, saying that you should use real artists and not AI because it puts real artists out of a job. Someone then commented on Minty's Instagram post saying, love your song till I found out it was AI slop. AI, quote, music producers isn't a thing and steals from other artists. It appears that Minty must have seen this critical comment and then blocked this user because they then posted a screenshot showing that they could no longer go on Minty's profile anymore, which is usually a telltale sign that you've been blocked. This then led to even more backlash online against Minty, with people saying that she can't take criticism. However, I don't think Minty has addressed it any further, so it appears that this is the end of this for now. And finally, moving on to another bit of tea on the back of this week's episode to do with the Only Naomy, who kind of called out production. As you know, Naomi was in the bottom this week and had to lip sync, and there was a lot of negativity around the lip sync, and people said it was really bad. Naomi then posted on social media afterwards saying, I would like to formally apologize for that lip sync. However, later, Naomi seemingly responded to some criticism she had about her self-made outfit, and she spilled some tea about it. So the challenge this week was that the queens had to take another queen's outfit and then rework it into a new outfit. And they were provided some additional fabric by production, which they could also use for the outfit. Naomi was heavily criticised by the judges, saying that her look was not good, but they also criticised her for not making a new catsuit because she just used the original catsuit from the look. People on social media then said it was suspicious that in the episode they included a scene in the workroom where Naomi was saying that she was going to use the original catsuit because it already fit her and it would save her a lot of time, but she hoped that the judges wouldn't notice. However, later on the main stage, Michelle asked Naomi how much of the outfit she made herself, which many people said sounded like a setup because Naomi was the only queen that Michelle asked that question to. After the episode, Naomi posted some tea about this on social media where she said, "To say my piece on that, they said RuMix and RuImagine the Look. Behind the scenes production explicitly said it's my decision to use or reuse the provided outfit the way I'd like to, whilst afterwards specifically pointing out to the judges to ask which parts I did make or did not make. Also, I made a whole catsuit, not just leggings, that I wore underneath. But since the fabric they provided us with was a cheap, stretchy fabric, I realized halfway through that I wouldn't be able to drape fabric on top, so I turned to using the OG catsuit. Production taught me one thing that week: never ask for permission before, ask for forgiveness later, because there were other outfits using significant parts of their original looks as well. That being said, I absolutely hate the outfit I made, and I would have put myself in the bottom for this as well." Kate Butch replied to Naomi saying, "You don't need to explain yourself, my love. There's a whole evening and morning of off-camera work that nobody will ever get to see. Brackets, us having a breakdown about trying to make you a catsuit, lol. You're a bloody star, and the world gets to see you shine for another week." So it seems that Naomi was kind of implying that she may or may not have been set up by production, which may have been shady, but she also admitted that she did not like her look. But I just thought that this was some interesting tea, and it gives a bit of an insight into how production works and how the queens feel about it. But as I always say in my videos, please do not send any hate to any of the queens or get involved in this kind of thing. Just consume this type of content passively. So there you go. There was the Have Your Say video for UK vs. the World Season 3. Let me know in the comments what you think of the season so far. And are you enjoying US Season 18 more, or are you now enjoying UK vs. the World more? If you'd like to get your comments featured in my Have Your Say poll, as well as get early access, exclusive content that I don't show on YouTube, as well as many other things, please check out my Patreon. It's a very cheap and amazing way to support the channel, and I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd like to say thank you so much to my amazing Patreon members. Every month you blow me away with your support, with the amazing comments. I love reading them all. I love talking to you in the exclusive Patreon chat. Honestly, thank you so much. You are all absolute legends. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help boost it in the algorithm and promote it to more people. And make sure you smash that subscribe button because it really does make a massive difference to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I may potentially be back with some more UK vs. the World gossip, secrets, and drama. Thank you so much. Bye.